All right, picking up with Judith Sargent Murray's On the Equality of the Sexes from part one. I am looking at the last part of this document, which is the letter that she wrote to a friend in 1780, which was like 10 years before she penned On the Equality of the Sexes, and where she challenges or she addresses the story of Adam and Eve, which for a long time had been considered and still historically is considered to be the argument for women being less than to men. And you know the story, just to kind of briefly remind you. So Adam and Eve, they're in the Garden of Eden. Their life is perfect and beautiful, and they have everything they can imagine at their disposal, with the exception of one thing. And God tells them, you cannot eat from the tree of life, the tree of good and evil. And so Eve is out one day, and she's walking by the tree, and Satan comes up to her disguised as a serpent, and he tempts Eve into eating a bite of an apple that is from the tree of knowledge. And so the one thing that God told them that they could not have in this glorious paradise that they were in, and she's tempted into eating of the fruit because the devil, just disguised as a serpent, tells her that she'll have infinite knowledge, and she'll be wiser, and her life will be better. And so she does. She eats of the apple, and then she gives the apple to Adam, who also eats from the apple. And this brings about their being cast out of heaven, out of the Garden of Eden, their own heaven, I guess, the Garden of Eden. And so for long, this has been, the argument that women are inferior and more wicked because Eve was considered to be the mother of the fall, the person responsible for them being cast out of heaven. So Murray challenges this ideology in her letter. With a couple of tenets. Number one, she says that Satan was disguised as an angel of light. And so Satan did not come to her in his form, and he came to her disguised as something else. And an angel of light, one of God's creatures, she did not, she suspected no foul play from that. But that wasn't the important part. The important part that Murray challenges is in the second tenet, that Eve wasn't motivated by desire for the fruit. She didn't have a desire for the fruit itself, for that. She desired the knowledge and understanding that came with eating the fruit that Satan promised her. She was innately curious, and she wanted to know more, and she wanted to be knowledgeable, and that is why she ate the fruit. And then the kicker to her whole argument here is that Eve was deceived into disobeying God. Yet nobody was trying to deceive Adam. Adam ate of the fruit of his own accord, knowing what was at stake, knowing that he should not disobey the Lord. And he did so anyway because of his attachment to a woman, his ignorant attachment to his wife or his mate. And he disobeyed God. And so she's positing then that male superiority is deeply flawed because no one deceived Adam into he ate of the fruit, whereas Eve was deceived into eating the fruit. So by turning that idea on its head, that it was really Adam that was responsible for the fall, Murray is really challenging that age-old, that very foundation that male authority had been based on for hundreds of years. She points out that, people are only human, and we're going to react in human ways, and that perfection only belongs to Christ, and that in trying to rule over women, men are positing that they are God-like, and the only person that can be God-like is Christ himself. And so I think that that's a very important distinction to make in her argument on why women should be treated as equals to men.